Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting a little late, but we've only got one presentation tonight. This is our council presentation ceremony. Mr. Shelley has the one presentation. Sorry again for the delay, but here we are. Mr. Shelley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hold on.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing the Artists in the Spotlight for August and September. The Artists in the Spotlight program features local artists of all sorts of media types at the Seminole Theater in our heart of our downtown historic district and arts and entertainment district. And for the month of August and September, we have two artists. We have Natalie Prieto and Carlos Franco. Natalie Prieto is one of the founders and the CEO of the Children's Gallery and Art Center since 2009. She served on the board of directors of Art and Public Places for the city of Homestead in 2011 and on the board of directors of the Seminole Theater in 2012. Her professional background is in law, journalism, and social services. She graduated summa cum laude from Jones International University with a master's degree of arts and business communication and has 20 years of experience in art-related not-for-profit organizations. Carlos Franco is co-founder of the Children's Gallery and Art Center and the art and projects director since 2009. Carlos has curated more than 72 exhibitions and provided many lectures about classic and contemporary painters. His formal training as a plastic artist includes studies at the Academy of Fine Arts in Guayaquil, Ecuador, and Mercy College in New York City. He has participated in many collective and individual exhibits in several galleries of US, Ecuador, Spain, Brazil, and France. And so I'd like to invite them to come up and say a little bit more about themselves and about their artwork. Yes, to the mic in the middle. Talk about your exhibit, talk about when your gallery night is, which I believe is on August 28th at the Seminole Theater. So let everybody know so they can attend, see, and know what inspires your art.
Well, hello, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the audience. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. We would like to invite you all to this fabulous exhibition that we're currently having at the Seminole Theater, thanks to the City of Homestead, the Seminole Theater, Homestead Center for the Arts, and we're here representing our nonprofit organization for the visual and the performing arts, the Children's Gallery and Art Center. One of the most interesting things about this exhibition that is intergenerational. In most cases, when you go to a museum or an art gallery, you will not see mix and match kids with adults, professional artists with newcomers, or young artists or emerging artists. However, in this time we want to do it because we want the community in general to be able to appreciate what skills means. That has nothing to do with age, but it has to do with passion, with commitment, and with effort. We are not selling sodas. We are not in the retail business. We are in the art education business that is a long, long, long committed term project. You are not born anything, that is what we think. You're built on. You're built on your desires to be something, and you're built on experience, and you're built on a vision. And some people are able to develop that vision since a very young age, and some other people develop it later, at a later time, because of the environment. We are very happy because the City of Homestead has grown tremendously in the cultural environment and ambience, and is providing the community with a lot of opportunities that we didn't have before, like 25 years ago. There is a bunch of new schools created, magnet art schools, and other schools that have integrated the art projects inside the schools as an out-of-school program. They have brought new teachers, people that are well-versed in the arts, and that means education, and that means culture. So when you see this type of exhibition that is very different from one to another, talking about the pieces, this is realistic painting and naive painting. Realism is something that we emphasize a lot. A lot of artists and art educators don't like realism because it's the representation of the reality, whatever is around you, of people, places, and objects. We're not talking about feelings here. This is not your personal vision of something. It's represented what exists. However, it's not the same to take a picture. Because when you take a picture, it's true that it's your eyes, it's your finger, but it's a camera that is helping you. However, when you're creating a portrait, you have a person, you have a landscape, you have an object in front of you. It's stroke by stroke by stroke the way you build it. So you really need to understand what you're seeing, and you have to put a little bit of your soul on it. The other part of the exhibition is totally naive. And I do like naive a lot because it's in contradiction with academy, it's challenging, and it's just a vision like a child will have it. Nothing exuberant, nothing exaggerated, and with a lot of fantasy. So you will see in this exhibition amazing artworks created by kids as young as 6 years old, 8 years old, to 62 years old. And the beauty of it, that it doesn't matter who you are or where you're coming from. What matters is the vision that you have and what you're able to create. So we're inviting you all to come to the Seminole Theater, this amazing, beautiful building that actually have a lot of good presentations to enjoy in the lobby and in the areas that they have designed as a gallery. These are very eclectic but very symbolic artwork. And I hope that you can learn something from it and feel a lot, because art is a lot about feelings. And once you stop feeling something in life, then, well, you know. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And again, the gallery night is August the 28th at the Seminole Theater for those interested in attending and seeing the beautiful artwork.
The artwork that's over in the Seminole now is your collection? Is it?
I believe, yes, in August, yes.
Your I saw a beautiful portrait of Miss Campbell there yesterday,
Yes.
Sunday. So I was just questioning.
I don't know that one. You have to ask them.
Yeah.
The portrait, the mayor is asking, the portrait of Ruth Campbell, was that one of you guys that painted that? Or
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. Yes, because it's based on Ruth, but it's not Ruth.
Oh.
The artist took certain liberties, and this is something that we find sometimes a little bit challenging. Because one thing is for somebody to take a picture of you, and you immediately recognize yourself and the place you're in. But when a painter is painting you, and suddenly you see yourself or something that resembles yourself, oh, maybe you're having a little shock. It's a beautiful, amazing painting based on a person we know, but it's untitled, so it's not Harriet anymore.
Well, one of the things that I was going to say, which I know this is your specialty, but it adds so much to the experience of the theater. In addition to go to a play or experiencing a musical or whatever, being able to walk through the lobbies and seeing the different artwork really just adds a flavor to the whole artistic feel of the Seminole Theater. I don't go there as much as I should, but I had an opportunity to go and see the final Hairspray performance, and I was really taken back by the portraits all over, the paintings, the design. I want to thank you because it really does add. You know, you go in there and it's different almost every time. So I think it's amazing what you're doing, Steve, with this, and I think it's just a home run for the theater and the artistic community that want to display. So thank you very much. It's amazing.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do a few. All right. A little bit more? Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I have a friend in the back of the room, Mr. Avila, and his wife. They invited me to the 20th anniversary of their restaurant here on KROME. And Mr. Avila, what's the address of your restaurant on KROME and 5th? 702. had an opportunity to come and visit with you and experience your 20th anniversary. We've had two big success stories in Homestead on KROME Avenue, you and your family and your restaurant for 20 years, and El Toro Taco just recently celebrated 41 years. So KROME Avenue is alive and surviving and thriving. So I want to congratulate you on 20 years. And we had a little mix-up tonight because I wanted to honor you with a proclamation, and we will. But we just got a little mix-up tonight. But I want to thank you for coming and congratulate you on your 20 years. Thank you, sir. So with nothing else, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. We'll wait at 6 o'clock and reconvene our regular council meeting. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, August 15th, 2017 council meeting to order. It's approximately 6:06 p.m. This evening we'll have the invocation by Pastor Michael Stiles from St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Maldonado. And I don't see the police explorers here. So would you all please stand?
Let us bow our heads. Gracious eternal Father, we come to you on this marvelous day. We ask, Father, as we get ready to go into counsel with one another, that you, Father, have mercy on us. Allow us, Father God, to have the wisdom that you've poured inside of each person in this room, Father God, to be magnified and to be glorified with you, Father. We say thank you right now for all of our elected officials and those who are here as guests as well. We give you, Father God, the praise, the glory, and the honor. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Thank you, Pastor Stiles, for being here tonight. Mr. Maldonado for leading the pledge. Thank you, sir. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Ross.
Here.
Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilman Burgess. Vice Mayor Fairclough.
Here.
Mayor Porter.
Here. I know Mr. Burgess had to go to Orlando early for the League of Cities meeting, and I think Mr. Williams is not feeling that well, so I think they're both going to be missed tonight, but busy. So, any additions, deletions, deferrals, Mr. Manager? None? We are very fortunate to have some very, very important people to us here tonight. We have some representatives from Tallahassee. We have Senator Flores, Representative Holly Rashine, Representative McGee. They're the ones that do the heavy lift for us in Tallahassee. We're knocking on their doors all the time asking for help, and they're constantly producing for Homestead. And we also have Jose Fuentes and Jose Bermudez. They're both here. And Bob Levy's office, Mr. Levy's office has got a representative here. They're going to give us a little bit of an update on how well we did in Tallahassee last year. So, Senator, representatives, if you would come forward. Mr. Bermudez.
Jose Fuentes, Becker Polikoff, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Thank you, first of all, for inviting us. And we did provide you with a presentation on the overall legislative accomplishments for this year. But I think since it's really such an auspicious moment where we have all the members that represent Homestead here, I'm going to defer from the report and go off kind of our original plan and let, first of all, Senator Anita Flores and then the representatives to speak. And we'll go from there. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Jose.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you all so much for having us. Thank you those in the public and those who are watching for making sure that we who are here get to be the people who get to be your voice in Tallahassee. It is an incredible, incredible honor. I want to start off with just a personal thanks to all of the members of this council who have been so helpful on a personal level. And so I want to thank you so much for your help and your friendship. I think over the last more than a year, over the last 2 years, we've really become family and friends, and so I appreciate it very, very much. on behalf of my husband and my kids as well. So thank you all so much for that. We had what was a very tumultuous year, I would say, in Tallahassee. That's probably an understatement, but it was full of highs and lows, lots of political posturing. But I would say that Homestead had an extraordinarily very good year. That is in no small part to those of you who are here. You all did a great job of being up in Tallahassee. When you had to be, when you didn't have to be, but you wanted to be, and making sure that we knew how the different budget proposals or how the different things would affect Homestead. So really that is in large part to your hard work. It's in large part to the hard work of your contract lobbyists. They've done a very good job of making sure that we were kept informed of what were the things that were going on. And of course, my counterparts in the House, both Representative Rashine and Representative McGee, we worked together. And I think that what you see this year is the fruits of kind of what we talked about last year leading up into the election about the importance of making sure that we had strong advocates both in the Senate and the House speaking with a unified voice on issues that were important to Homestead. So whether it be some water projects that we were able to get, I know there was a big initiative that was important to Councilman Williams. I'm sorry he's not here, but we were able to secure $200,000 in state funding to talk about sickle cell awareness, and that's something that is going to be kind of the first of its kind in the state. So that's a really, really big deal. We have a series of infrastructure projects that we did very well. We also know that the farm share issue on the statewide level is very important, but here in Homestead, it's very important because of some of the distribution centers. And when we thought that it was going to be like really terrible and a disaster and kind of the whole thing go away, we ended up in a good spot for farm share. So those are all the good things. I would say that the issues to be of concern is that we will be up in Tallahassee in less than a month. The first week of committee meetings is September 11th. This year, the 2018 legislative session is in January and February. So that means that as you all are starting to make your plans, know that fall and the early part of the year will be when we're busiest. So I'm hopeful that the manager and the council have been working closely together on what those legislative requests are for next year, because next year is here. And so we should not, the successes that we had last year are great, but many of the issues, as you know, were funded, if not most or all of them, were funded with non-recurring dollars. So we're going to have to go up to Tallahassee and work on those again. And of course, on any of the newer issues that have come up on infrastructure issues or job development issues that are important to the city, those are the things that we're going to have to know really as soon as possible. Because like I said, we'll be back up in Tallahassee in just a couple of weeks. So again, thank you all so much for your time, for honoring us. I'm going to leave, let obviously our House counterparts talk for a minute, and then let Jose kind of take the credit for all the specific dollars. And you can take out the calculator and figure out that it is worth it for us to be up in Tallahassee. So again, thank you all so very much. It's my honor to be your voice.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Vice Mayor, and Council. I just want to echo Senator Flores' comments. Tumultuous is a big word, and I think describes session and our subsequent special session perfectly. And just want to start out by saying how incredible it was to have a partner in the Senate. And I don't want to minimize my relationship with my good friend and soon-to-be leader, Keone McGee, but it was amazing to have a person, a leader, a person in leadership in Tallahassee, not only in the healthcare arena and the appropriations world, but also in banking and insurance. And that's incredibly important to local governments, county governments, our entire state. So it was just so refreshing and awesome to have you, Senator Flores. So I didn't want to not leave today without getting that out there in the universe. But again, at least on the House side, again, I think I can offer a very different perspective from the Senate. We favored, some of us in the House, an attack on local rule. on home rule. And I know that you saw that, and fortunately, a lot of those original proposals died, thankfully, and some of them did move forward, and those that didn't move forward may be back. So while tonight we're focusing on what happened during the 2017 and the 2017 special session, like Senator Flores mentioned, we want to be talking about the future and how we can prepare for that. I've heard that you all have started working on your legislative priorities, and they're really long, right? All right, well, that's okay. That's right. You know, just ask for a lot, and then you'll eventually land somewhere fun. But again, the home rule issue is very important. I have a feeling that will be coming up, so just get ready for that. And again, focusing on the budget, we were incredibly successful. We brought home the $450,000 for the pump station in the treatment center. Of course, we had Councilman Jimmy Williams' priority. Farm share was mentioned. I know there's some other dollars in there for Homestead. The one disappointment, and I know this is a hot and cold issue depending on what year it is for our agriculture community, the laurel wilt funding. It's a very minimal amount, and for some reason, every other year the governor either accepts it or vetoes it, and it's still definitely an issue plaguing our avocado farmers and their families. And so my plan, and I'm going to get you all together in on this, is to get the governor up in a helicopter or a plane or whatever and let him see the blight firsthand and listen to our farmers and our agriculture community. And again, Miami-Dade County does a pretty incredible job with minimal resources, but the state can certainly do a better job on that. And again, it's such a pleasure to represent such a unique area in our state. We worked on the Everglades. We did a number of things in education. We just kind of ran the whole gamut this year in session. And I'm sure that 2018 is not going to be any less exciting than 2017. And again, like Senator Flores mentioned, you all do a fantastic job advocating for your community. It's obviously a big trek getting all the way up to Tallahassee, and you all do a fantastic job. So thank you, and thank you for the honor of representing you in Tallahassee.
Thank you, Senator.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Similar to my colleagues here, what an honor. Standing in Tallahassee, working on your behalf is truly an honor. We've gotten a lot of things done, and we expect to get more done in the up and coming session. But the great thing about me is that now my colleagues have given me the opportunity to serve as their incoming minority leader in the Florida House, which is great, which is even better for the city. We will continuously do everything we need to do in our powers to ensure that Homestead is taken care of as it relates to its resources. And to piggyback off what Representative Rayshon did speak about, the Everglades. It's a big issue. When we're talking about transportation and affordable housing, those are two big issues that we're going to attempt to tackle this year and subsequent years to ensure that the people of Homestead have great access in those areas. And with that said, I just want to say I appreciate the reality that you all have a lot of faith in me, a lot of faith in my colleagues, and we do have one of the best senators, because any one of us from a bipartisan standpoint can pick up the phone. And I think I spoke with you about, 2 hours ago? We can speak with her anytime, just pick up the phone and give her a request, and she's one who can actually bring it home for us. So with that said, on behalf of the House, I say thank you very much for this honor and pleasure of representing you.
Thank you, Representative. Sorry?
For us, do you have any questions?
Let Jose wrap this up.
I'm not going to take any credit, to be honest with you. We are very fortunate in the city of Homestead that we have such a great group of elected officials representing you in the legislature. As you know, when you've gone up to Tallahassee, Anitere Flores has made herself available and opened the doors for you to sit down and talk to her and try to find solutions to problems that currently exist or that are coming up. I know that a few of the members have been in that situation, and I know it's always good for me as one of your contract lobbyists, as it was stated, to make the manager happy. So I'll be honest with you. But, we can't do this alone. Jose Bermudez is up in Tallahassee most of the time, and J.C. Canaval, who's also with Levy's office, Bob Levy's office, and Jose Diaz could not make it. I mean, you are fortunate that you have the only lobbying team that's named Jose's. That's amazing. I've never seen that ever. But Jose, 3. But Representative Rashine is incredible. Of all the members, and I can say this without any hesitation, her door is always open. She never says no. Come back maybe, but she's always available for you and for us. And Representative McGee, I can't even, we go up there and he's, come on in. And he spends the time necessary to make things happen. But I mean, we are so lucky in the city of Homestead, and you know what the past has been. Mm-hmm. So this is like awesome. So I just wanted to state that on behalf of our firm and on behalf of Levy & Associates. So thank you, members.
Thank you. It is nice because we can always give credit to Jose for bringing home the bacon.
You never upset any of us.
But it's great. But I want to say this, and then the council can ask questions if they have any, but we are blessed right now. This is one of those times we talk about when the moon and the stars line up and things are in a perfect world for us. The leadership roles that each of you play is phenomenal for us as a community. And I think we've got two of the best groups up there working for us as lobbying. They both have specialties. You guys both groups are very specially talented in all areas, so it's a good compliment. But we have brought home a lot more to this community than ever. The manager's always telling us, why are you guys going to Tallahassee? All you're going to do is bring home nothing. And he's been eating his words the last couple of years. But we do really appreciate it, and thank you for updating the community on what you're doing for us and letting them see the faces of the people that do it. And whatever we can do to help you in the future, let us know. We'll be there. Any questions from the council? Mr. Shelley?
No questions. I just want to echo your good comments as far as the team that we have up there. I know when I first got elected, going back almost 8 years ago or so, we'd go up to Tallahassee, and it was a struggle. We weren't bringing anything back. We weren't getting any projects approved. And now to see that change, and it's because of the team we have, it's because of the representation we have in Tallahassee, it's because of the lobbying team that we have. And as a result, you see the fruits of the labor, and it's good for us as a city, but it's also good for our residents. It's good for our constituents, because these are projects that otherwise we would have to find some way to pay for. We wouldn't be able to pay for it all. And because of the efforts of our legislators up in Tallahassee, we now have dollars to build this pump station, which helps us with our revitalization of our downtown, which helps brings jobs to our community. And some of these other projects they've worked so hard on, and to get a water project is very, very difficult up in Tallahassee. I don't know when the last time we have gotten one, if we ever have gotten one. And so that alone is a huge lift, and it shows, again, the leadership that we have and the power that our legislators have in Tallahassee and our lobbyist team has in Tallahassee. And so I really just want to use this opportunity to thank all of you for all that you do and for working hard and advocating for the city and the city residents and bringing home these projects and really helping make their lives better and improve the quality of life for all of our residents. So thank you for all that you do, and thank you, lobbying team, for working so hard and communicating with us and advising us on where we should work and not work, and using our resources effectively and our advocation effectively. So thank you guys very much for all that you do.
Thanks for taking the time to come down. Without anything else, thank you. Vice Mayor, I'm sorry. Yes. Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the work that you do in Tallahassee. I definitely do not envy what you do. I prefer to stay on the local level and let you tackle it on the state level. In reading the packet that you provided to us, there are some bills of interest in here. And Holly, you briefly mentioned education, and that is a huge bill and a big deal of interest for this community. And as an educator at heart and the liaison from council to the Education Committee, I would like for you to just talk about House Bill 7069 that has a lot of school districts concerned and suing the state for the constitutionality of it. I represent all children. I don't represent some of them. And I have to be very knowledgeable and be able to discuss the ramifications or pros or cons of this bill. So whoever's brave enough to come up and talk to us about 7069, I greatly appreciate it.
Great. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So I think that every year there ends up being like one bill that becomes overly dramatic behind what, besides what it actually does. And so I think this year 7069 was that bill, partly, maybe mostly because it was a bill that wasn't released until kind of the very end. And so I think that is what a lot of folks had some strong concerns with. But I'll speak briefly on the policy and all the, I think, really good public policy that was put in there. This is the bill that guarantees things like, feel-good stuff like 20 minutes of recess for all public school students, 20 minutes a day from K through 5. So that's, something good everyone can agree on. There's some elimination of some high school statewide exams that had been required. So Algebra 2 is a statewide exam that is eliminated. The bill also moved the testing window for all students to later on in the year, which is something that teachers had been asking for a long time. We ask teachers to teach a year's worth of knowledge. We say like in a year's worth of time, but it's not really. It's more like in 5 months worth of time because the testing schedule had been in March. So this moves the testing schedule back to late May or the first week of June, and we have assurances that we'll get the results back in time. So I think those are a lot of the good things. And then, it has a bunch of kind of sometimes like silly things that you'd be surprised you need a state law for. Like for example, it is now legal to apply sunscreen in school. Apparently some school districts felt that you could not put sunscreen on in school. So there's, maybe like 10 or so issues like that are like non-issues, but that were important for school districts to move forward. The biggest issue and the biggest controversy comes with the requirement of requiring public schools, or rather the school district, to share capital outlay building money with charter schools. And so one can have a long debate on that, but I'll just speak very briefly as someone who voted for the bill, why I think that is a good idea. So public school students, be it in traditional public school or in charter schools, are all public school students. And so one of the things that we had seen is that while school districts had been strongly encouraged to share maintenance and building money with charter schools, only a handful had. That's something important to note, that some school districts had been sharing their capital dollars. This would be done on a proportional basis, so no more nor less than coming up with an amount on a per student basis. For myself and those who think this was a good idea, we said, well, I think that ultimately the money should follow the student. And so that's the short version. Obviously, we could have a much longer debate, but to bring up what you said is that because we're blessed to live in a country where no one branch has the absolute power, there is now a lawsuit that will be moving its way through the judicial system where several school districts have said we don't like that particular portion, and then maybe there is a better way. I've said in the last couple of months since the session has ended, that if there are some valid concerns that have come up with the sharing of the capital money, then I think it's something that I hope we can fix at the legislative level. So some of the things that we've been tossing around is, because I think the biggest concern is, okay, so if you take that public dollar for capital and then turn it over to a private entity, while we actually do that in a variety of different instances, this is one where there's some concern. So I think that if we would look at maybe some changes and modifications and say, well, if any charter school that's going to use that capital money, that they would have to enter into an agreement, for example, that if something would happen to that charter school, that then the building becomes a public building. That's something that I think most people agree with, including the charter school industry. Or perhaps that the funding be limited to maintenance rather than new construction. I think that's something that we could all agree on, right? That maintenance of public buildings while the building's being used as a school, that's something that everyone can agree on. So I'm hopeful that, and we've had some early conversations with the school district here in Miami-Dade County, I'm hopeful that we can change those things legislatively this year, since this year, like I said, starts in 2 weeks, rather than going through the judicial process. But if it goes through the judicial process and the law is struck down, then it just means that we get a chance to kind of do it again and do it better. But I think that the long version, probably, I never am good at the short version, is that there is a lot of really good things in that bill. Another great thing, for example, is expanded scholarship opportunities for students with disabilities. So that's something that has universal approval. There was just this issue, which is a major issue as it relates to the process of how the bill came together. And so while that's something that certainly should be concerned, we shouldn't, I would say, turn a blind eye to some of the good things that happen in there too. And in addition to that, so separate from that particular bill, we have to look at K-12 funding, per student funding as a whole this year went up to, again, historic levels, right? So levels that we haven't seen in the state before. So we can always do better. I think there's always, there's always more money that it would be great. We can continue to put more money into our classroom. This year, 2017-18, your students and your children will be receiving more money per student this year than they did in previous years. And I think that's something that we should be proud of.
Thank you. I just have some follow-up questions. You had mentioned some of the advantages of the bill, one in meaning the, one, to include that all public school students are we have to provide mandatory recess, 20 minutes per day for all of them. And I think that's great because you have to provide balance as well as moving the testing window back to allow the teachers time to be able to instruct prior to the testing. And I believe those are some topics that you yourself had championed and put into the bill. But my question as it relates to recess, if they're all public schools children, charter and public, why is it that public school children have to have the mandatory 20-minute recess and not charter school children?
I'll give you the short version is that was a disaster. That was one of the bad, terrible things that happened at the bill. It was much of a surprise to me as it was to just about anybody else because I had sponsored the recess bill.
Right.
I forgot that when I mentioned that part of it is because I purposely have like blocked that particular part of the bill out. And so look, no bill is perfect, and this bill was far from perfect. I think that we'll see this recess issue come up again this year on that particular issue, and so there's going to be a bunch of different things that we'll be doing to fix the bill, and so now there's opportunities to fix the bill, not just legislatively, but perhaps judicially as well.
Okay. I beg your indulgence.
You have the floor.
Yes, I was going to ask you to just come in and chime on it because I believe you are on the opposing side of the bill. So can you just speak from your perspective?
No problem. I believe if I had the opportunity to write the bill, I would have written it differently. In my opinion, I believe it is still one of the worst bills to ever have been written in Tallahassee. I hope that the court strike it down as unconstitutional. I do believe the bill has reached a level that has caused some constitutional concerns, but more than anything, I believe it creates an unbalanced system. It becomes one of those, whether or not, is this a bill that creates a fair and equitable system for our children to participate in on the educational front? The short answer to that from my side and from my colleagues is no. So we're looking towards the court. We want the courts to look at this and say, why is it that the public schools have to do A while the private schools and the charter schools, they do B? Are we creating a separate and unequal system for our children? And so those are my concerns. Do I believe there's going to be some changes when we get back? I hope the court rules before we get back on this bill so it can pretty much force us to go back to the table and redesign this thing. But I do believe in its current form, the bill is unconstitutional. And I don't see how it passes constitutional muster with this court. And hopefully they're listening right now. Hopefully they'll strike it down as a piece of bad legislation.
Okay, I just have one final question. And Representative Rashon, you can chime in at any point that you would like. There has been a reference of some schools being characterized as failing factories. And in Homestead, we have had some challenges. We have a high population of ELL students and students who live in urban core, and they're very poor, and the poverty levels are very high in a corridor in our community. And we've had challenges in some of those schools. So I know there's a schools of hope money. I don't know when hope has become a strategy, but we'll take it. How will the School of Hope money benefit those schools in Homestead that has had some challenges over the years?
So I'll answer that just because I've been in contact with Dr. Feldman. The minute that the criteria came out and the announcement that there were unfortunately some schools in Homestead that because of those challenges, right, that we acknowledge that. And so there is a pot of money that would be available, so it would be equal to $2,000 per student that attends each of those schools. I've been in touch with not just Dr. Feldman, but at the state level, the State Board of Education. There's going to be a competitive process to be able to access that money. I've made very clear that my strong inclination and desire is that that there be funding for both schools. And so that'll be $2,000 per student. So however many number of students there'll be $2,000 per student additionally to what they get currently.
Right.
Average base student allocation in the state is somewhere about like $7,800 range. So that would be money that would go directly to the schools, and then the schools would be the ones that would have the action plan to determine how that funding is used, right? So that funding could be used from teacher bonuses, teacher recruitment, perhaps extend the day, perhaps extend the school year, perhaps bring in tutoring, different things. So I think when you start talking about an extra $2,000 per student, that's a big number that can actually make a direct impact, and that'll go only to those schools. Like I said, it's a competitive process, but it's something that we expect will be awarded in incredibly short order. Dr. Feldman has been a strong advocate. The superintendent of Miami-Dade County Public Schools has been a very strong advocate for those schools, specifically in Homestead. And I have as well, saying this is something that we need because we want to be able to turn those schools around so that those schools can continue to be public schools, right? Because I think that the concern is that if those schools don't turn around, then there are possibilities that they could be turned into something other than just a traditional public community school, and we don't want to see that happen. So, so that's something that we will just have to stay in very close contact with. I would recommend actually that the council, if you haven't yet done so, make sure that you have a formal resolution in support of the two schools, in support of the application for those schools to be able to receive that Schools of Hope funding, because I know that will go a long way, because what the State Board of Education is looking at is how is the community as a whole going to be able to work together to be part of the solution to turn those schools around.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, what can we do as a council to ensure that those two schools, and I'll just say who they are, West Homestead K-8 Center and Homestead Middle School, gets their fair share of the pie as it relates to this funding? And can we count on your support to be able to help us in that pursuit? And just one disclaimer, all of us up here, we represent all the kids. I'm not advocating for one entity over the next. I just don't want to feel as if we're pitting one group of kids over the next when they're all our children. So thank you for the work that you do, and we're going to continue to count on you to make decisions that are in the best interest for all of our children and not some of our children.
Yeah, no, I like I said, agree with everything. Certainly get the resolution going, and work closely with Dr. Feldman on an individual basis, on a council basis, because I really think that will go a long way in ensuring that those two schools in Homestead become our pride. Rather than unfortunately, as some people see them as schools that are not meeting their potential. They have the potential. Those students have the potential. We just need to make sure that they have the tools necessary to meet that potential.
Right, absolutely. And another disclaimer, I don't work at either one of those schools, West Homestead K-8 or Homestead Middle. And although they may have 99% of students in poverty, they have 100% students that have potential. And we have to do what we can to support them.
And while I do support the council's position and my great senator here, let's be clear. There would not be a support letter or some sort of support or resolution that supports any portion of 7069. For that reason, at this point, I would respectfully say no, but I can tell you this as it relates to issues dealing with education that actually have a better impact on the city of Homestead and the schools within it. I would more than happy do anything to support that. But as it relates to supporting anything that has any inclination or any position supporting 7069, I would respectfully say I would have to decline supporting it.
Oh, no, I was not recommending that. I wouldn't move in that direction. Thank you.
That's it, Vice Mayor. Thank you. Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor, and I will be brief. Fortunately, I was able to be out there twice with two committees that I belong to, and I just want to give a moment to say thank you for, again, your doors are always open. You're there working for the city, and we truly appreciate it. I wanted to take a minute. Councilman Williams could not make it today. He had an emergency to deal with, but definitely on his behalf, if he was here, he would be so ever grateful for you bringing those daughters home for the sickle cell. I just recently met a young lady that after the announcement that we received the money and how it would impact our community and how we'd have a center to be opened that would cater to persons with sickle cell. There was a person that lived in my community that I mentioned this to her, and she was ecstatic because she goes, what a relief. I have to drive all the way up to Kendall or Miami just so I could feel better. So the fact that we're going to have a location here in Homestead, I want to applaud Jimmy Williams, Councilman Williams, that was up there from the beginning. He went many times without us on behalf of the city, and again, thank you for all the support that you gave to him. I know he would be so ever grateful, so I just wanted to make sure I said that for him. So thank you. Thank you for all the good work.
Mr. Roth.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to add my thoughts as well to the conversation that the Vice Mayor had about the schools. The $2,000 you're talking about, when would that happen and when would that be available to us down here? Just as a point, I was at West Homestead Elementary today with Dr. Feldman, and we did a backpack giveaway there, and we've got some programs that, as you mentioned, that the community needs to step up and do some work and advocate for our schools as well. And we are working on some programs out there to help West Homestead Elementary with that. But that extra $2,000 per student would help cure a lot of the problems that we have in some of these schools where we don't have the counseling programs for these children. We don't have the resources for these children in these schools. So that money becomes very important. And when you talk about $2,000 times 800 students, that's a lot of money. And we can use that. So just my question about that before I give you guys a lot of praise, because I appreciate being the new kid on the block. And every time I call you guys, you respond to me. You pick up the phone. You return my calls, and that's been very beneficial to somebody that's new to what we do to legislate, set policy for people in our communities. You guys do it on a larger scale. We do it on a local level, and I appreciate all that. But to me, the kids and the timing of this money is really crucial to know when that could happen.
So first of all, I think I can speak for all three of us that the Love Fest is great and appreciated, but it still makes us feel like uneasy. You know, I mean, listen, we appreciate it, thank you, but ultimately you're just thanking us for doing our job. This is what we should be doing, and I think that's very nice. It's appreciated, and it's kind of something that we have to do. But I think the better interaction comes from kind of asking these questions, right? So the specifics on the Schools of Hope grant, Dr. Feldman will have the details and the very specifics, but my understanding is that this is all happening like in very short order within the next weeks, if not, a month or two, because the idea is to have that funding into the schools right away so that they can actually use it this school year, 2017-18, in a time that they'll be able to actually use it, right? It's not going to do a whole lot of help if the money comes in February, March of next year, right? So my understanding is that this is like in very, very short order. The specifics on when the application is due, I think Dr. Feldman will be able to provide all that for you. Or if not, your lobbyists, make them work for that.
Well, again, thank you for your service. We truly appreciate it. And you've made my job up here so much easier. Thank you very much. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Wait, don't leave yet.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I got caught up in education. I forgot to mention one area that has been very passionate to me for a couple of years. We have not been able to bring home the bacon yet, and that is as it relates to funding for senior citizens. I know there are several municipalities that receive funding for meals programs and day programs for seniors. We have a gap in services with our seniors in this community, and I would like to work with our lobbyists and all of you to ensure that this year we're able to bring home some money to support the seniors in this community.
We'll, Vice Mayor, we'll work with the city and the senator and the representatives to make sure that we include that, I guess, in the legislative package. And I can tell you that they've worked diligently in senior programs. Anitere her family's been involved in senior programs since I think she was born. So it's something that's near and dear to her heart also. So again, in closing, thank you very much, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Manager, for your support of your team, and really, and I know it's a love fest, but when you have somebody that loves you, you love them back. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion? Is there a second? All in favor? Motion carries. Next is public hearings. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization, and further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda. Hearing none at this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Would you please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me? I, please state your name, hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Tab 3.
Yes, tab 3 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception request to permit the use of a hair salon in the professional business restricted B1A zoning district for property located at 175 Northwest 14th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Anything from staff, Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir, we're recommending approval. This is, it seems to be a pretty simple issue in this district. However, hair salons, for whatever reason, the code has specified our special exceptions. We've reviewed the special exception criteria. It's completely compatible with the district and the neighborhood in general. And so again, we're recommending approval.
Mr. Shelley?
Thank you, Mayor. The only issue I have with this is, and we've had a couple of these items come before us over the last couple of years, although it's been slower because of the downturn in the economy, and that is, for the most part, this is a single-family neighborhood. I mean, there are some parts here and there that we've kind of selectively zoned. People have come through and have opened up a business of some sort of another, but it kind of stands out as an oddity within the neighborhood as itself. And I know the original reason this was zoned as professional mixed use is because there was a hospital there. And so the idea was all of those neighborhoods that surrounded the hospital would eventually turn into professional office spaces, doctors' offices, things of that nature. Well, since then, that hospital has moved, and now it's a school. And so it makes less sense now to have that necessarily be converted from its single-family form to some sort of, B1A or professional mixed use. And so I think overall we need to look at that and see, should we reevaluate that professional mixed use designation, and should we restore it back to its natural form, which would be the single-family homes and the residential. And so I don't necessarily have an issue with the underlying question about hair salon versus barbershop versus all of that. I think that that's a reasonable exception for a special exception, but I won't be supporting it because, again, I don't want to see us keep chipping away from the single-family neighborhood until we put together a more uniform plan of is this still going to be professional mixed use, or are we going to leave it as single-family or something else? Because otherwise you're having businesses now pop up in neighborhoods that have been there for 50, 60, 100 years. And so that's why I just wanted to put that on the record.
Mr. Cordino?
I think I agree with the premise there in the sense that this neighborhood was zoned and land use the way it is when the hospital was there. It likely would have been a good thing to revisit the land use and the zoning at the time that the hospital left, but we didn't, and the zoning's in place and the land use in place, and so this use is compatible with the land use and zoning, and from that perspective, we have no reason to say it shouldn't be there.
Is there currently is a business operating out of that residence in that house now?
I mean, yeah, is that right? Yes, the previous use was a business. So yes, the zoning on that is B1A zoning. So it's zoned correctly. We're not changing zoning We're not changing land use. The B1A is compatible with the overriding mixed-use zoning. It happens to be one parcel out of a block of all R1 zoning that was rezoned years ago to the B1A. So again, it was apparently a neighborhood in transition when the hospital was there to mixed use and professional office. Hospital leaves, the zoning and land use stayed in place and permit those types of uses in the neighborhood.
So if the code wasn't specific to hair salon, beauty salon needing to have a special exception,
we wouldn't even have to ask. So for whatever reason, a hair salon needs a special exception, which I can't explain to you why, but because it seems to be a pretty innocuous use in a B1A district. But we wouldn't even need to ask. So all of the other B1A uses are permittable without special exceptions and would be approved by right.
well, to Mr. Shelley's question, to take a relook at that whole neighborhood, how extensive would that be? I mean, give us a concept of a best guess scenario of taking a look, because it was true. That was the whole intent of looking at the surrounding neighborhood, was to facilitate additional needs in doctors' spaces and offices to support, at that time, Baptist Homestead Hospital, whatever. And now it's a neighborhood school, which is consistent with a lot of neighborhoods anyway. So if we did take that on, what would that entail?
Well, what I think the scope of services for that would be we would go back and revisit the approval of that land use and zoning, try to understand why it was put in place, and then articulate that to the council, and then it's a policy decision to determine whether that intent is still valid today, even though the hospital's gone. And then at that point, if you decide it is not, we would figure out which land use and zoning you wanted to go to. It may make sense to revert back to what was there before and remove make it whatever it was before, a purely residential land use designation and a purely residential zoning that were compatible with one another, so that you maintain the integrity of the single-family neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor, to staff. Ms. Cordino, at the moment, do we know how many businesses are currently there? Because from what I'm aware, there are a number of businesses that have purchased property, made investments, and are basically established there, and they're businesses that are supported by local local constituents that work in the area. I know of at least one insurance company that employs a lot of people. So I guess my concern is that and I understand Councilman Shelley's concern in the sense of their original intent, but since that decision was made, at least what I'm thinking is that there's folks that have already made investments in that area. What are going to, if we do have this conversation and if we do decide to go down this road to change it back to single family, what's going to happen to those who have invested in there and those businesses? Are they able to pass it down to their kids? From my understanding, there's actual some local hospital or business medical centers that have currently purchased some property within the area, looking to expand that. Just in the recent, not too far away, that was recently done. And so, what happens in that case for those businesses?
I don't know the exact number of businesses, but I know there are multiple properties interspersed like a checkerboard throughout the neighborhood that are business zoning in the midst of residential zoning blocks. And so, so there are a number of them. I think what would happen if you changed it back is it wouldn't necessarily impact those businesses. They would be legal non-conforming uses and allowed to exist until they cease to exist anymore. And when they stop existing, they would likely have to, the new business or the new entity would have to conform to the code that existed at that time. So it wouldn't necessarily, you wouldn't tell these guys they have to leave. They would be able to exist for as long as they wanted to.
As an existing building, but so
Correct.
it wouldn't be able to change or anything like that.
I think the 50% rule, if they ended up needing to make alterations or something like that, they would need to comply with all the current codes at the time.
Right.
Which would be land use.
And I just think about, like, for one business that I have in mind that, you know, that the owner would, you know, from my understanding, would maybe want to pass it down to his kids. That wouldn't be an issue. It would continue to stay that
No,
as long as they don't change it.
Yes, sir. As long as the business continued to, it could be sold, but as long as it didn't cease to operate for, I think, 90 days is our limit.
All right, thank you.
You, sir. Mr. Roth?
Thank you, Mayor. And, yeah, just a question to staff, too. B1A zoning is probably the most restrictive, is that correct?
Yes, it's the lightest form of commercial zoning that you can get. So it's the most compatible with residential.
Okay, and then you're saying that the beauty salon is an exception to the B1A, would normally be in a B1 zoning.
And I'm not quite sure what that means, why it's an exception, but it is in this area.
And typically B1A type businesses are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Is that a typical B1A doctor's office, attorney's office,
I mean,
accounting
they're
office?
they're very light, low impact on the surrounding neighborhood. I would say yes, in the sense that they're not making a whole lot of noise or smells or those types of things, and are more compatible with the single-family neighborhoods.
Yeah, because if I remember a few months back, we had one that wanted to go from a B1A zoning in the northwest section to a B1 zoning, and the residents came out against that because of the amount of traffic that the B1 zoning would allow in the neighborhood. Going from a B1A to a B1 could allow a business to operate 24 hours a day in that area. Is that right?
I'm not quite sure if that's true.
A convenience store, or not that this is a convenience store, but there would be traffic that would be coming to and from the area on Saturdays and Sundays versus a B1A business, which would typically be a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So what I'm saying is, what they may have decided in the past for zoning in that neighborhood may not be suitable for it today, and to put a beauty salon in a single-family, basically, residence, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to decide to put it there. It basically says that if you want to buy a single-family house on 14th Street, you could open a business on that street, which I don't think that that's where I would like to go with that. So I guess my question is, the B1A zoning is a highly restricted zoning, and maybe that's why it was left out of that zoning. Is a barber shop allowed in a B1A?
Believe so, yes. That's a special exception. So yeah, the following are special exceptions: daycares, bake shops, barber shops, beauty shops, bookstores, cigar shops, clothing stores, computer software, florists, jewelry, leather goods, photographers, mail services, and travel agencies.
So those are special exceptions to B1A zoning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, that's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shelley?
I don't think I have any comment anymore. I just was just going to clarify that I know in this particular case, my position is more or less, because it's already zoned B1A, so this isn't about rezoning it from residential to B1A or anything like that. So mine is more of a principle. I've voted typically against these particular projects as they come forward to B1A historically since I've been elected, because of, you know, the injecting of business uses into the middle of a neighborhood. So that was kind of my position, more so than the actual underlying this particular decision on this particular property. So I just wanted to clarify so that people did, but that's why my position.
There'll be a time. There'll be a time. I think the specific, to me, there's already a business there. It's already operating and functioning as a B1A. The issue is that our code requires this list, which this is one of in that list, to apply for a special exception to any B1A, regardless of if it's a neighborhood or not. It still has to go through this process. So there is a B1A operation going there, but for the fact that this is on a list that wants to have a little extra scrutiny on it, that's what we're talking about right now. So it's not taking someone out of a house and putting a business in there. It's already business. This is the process that we put this type of use through.
That is correct. The parcel was rezoned in the past to B1A. So that has been done already. It exists as a B1A zoning. And you're right, this is just one of those several things that I just read that are on the list that need a little extra attention before we just allow it like the rest of the things in the B1A.
Okay. Any other questions from council? I'll open up the public hearing right at this time. You're welcome to come up at this time, sir, and put your name and address on the record. You're welcome to speak for or against this particular issue.
Good evening. My name is Refugio Garza. I own the property. I'm going to open the property. I live at 169 Southwest 304th Street. And to address some of the concerns, I heard chemical back there. The only chemicals we use in a beauty salon are what goes into hair color, and that is ammonia and hydrogen peroxide, and we dispose of that in a separate container and get rid of it. So it's a septic tank, so it's not going into the sewer, number one. And what he also said, it was a business already, so I assumed it was okay, and then they told me it was a special exemption. I paid my dues. We're not taking anybody, like somebody said, out of a house, so it's already been. They did a search last meeting for zoning, that last meeting that we had, and they came up with traffic being less than what it is right now. I've been in Homestead for, as a business owner for 40 years with a little 10-year gap that I was in Florida City, but I'm coming back, and my clientele is all local, so they're all respectful of the community. They know that it's not going to be loud parties or anything. We don't have a bar that we're opening. It's a family-owned beauty salon. Also, our hours are going to be Tuesday through Saturday, and Saturday will be ending at 5 o'clock. So it's not going to be disruptive in any way. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. And I did make an initial investment, so what would happen? That was a good question. To those people that are already there. And across the street is, I think, a dialysis, the Manor, which is a business. Right across the street from me, there's 3 or 4 businesses, so business is already there. It's not like I'm coming in and asking to make it business for me. So, thank you. If you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments at this time? I will close the public hearing. Any final questions, comments from council? Is there a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Raw?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley? No. Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Tab 4. Mr. Attorney.
Yes, tab 4 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for an approximately 51,319.22 square foot expansion of an existing self-storage facility on an approximately 4.92 acre parcel located at 1690 Northeast 8th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for an effective date.
Report from staff, Mr.
Yes, sir. We're recommending an approval of this. What's happened is that there was a site plan put in place for this in the year 2000, and it was for about 48,000 square feet of self-storage facilities and a 14,000 square foot building. That was amended in 2007, and they added another building with some square footage, and now this one's coming in at 51,000 square foot. It all fits on the property. They don't violate any zoning or land use, and so they're compatible with all the rules of the site plan. So again, we're recommending approval of it.
Questions from council? I will open up the public hearing at this time. Mr. Maldonado?
Ms. Cordino,
Yes,
didn't this this company come before us not too long ago in regards to already expansion? And was it for storages or was it for that strip mall? Is this the same location? Same?
I believe it, I don't think this property's been here before since 2007.
Okay.
To the best of my research on it. The last time we made a change to this was in 2007.
Okay, that's it. A little confusion there.
This is a public hearing. Open up the public hearing. If you'd like to speak for or against this item. Yes, sir. Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thomas Diego. I'm the owner of Diego Development, the architectural firm working on this project. And I'm here just to answer any questions that you may have. I know that we do have recommendation for approval from the zoning department, and we don't actually violate any problems. We have done a traffic study, so traffic is very minimal on this site coming out based on this impact that we're putting on here. We are meeting with all the landscaping requirements. We are meeting with all the setback requirements. And what we're really doing on this property is taking an open parking lot that we have on the property, which is about 80% not being used, and putting a building in there, occupying it with the more self-storage, climate control. For those people who want to, I mean, they've been asking for a lot more space, so we're trying to provide that for them. It is going to be about 26, 27 feet high, so it's not a tall building, pretty much a two-story building. And, you know, the architecture is part of the same type of architecture as already on the property, which is pretty a square building, commercial-like building. Minimal windows, minimal entrances, highly secured. The property already has a fence around it, so it is secured, and it is monitored by on-site staff. Besides that, if you have any questions that I can help you with, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Mr. Shelley?
Yeah, because I can't quite see exactly the layout of it. From what I can see here, so my only question, you brought up the aesthetics or the architecture quality, because it does now, it's going to be kind of abutted right up against 8th Street, correct? You're going to go, not right up against, but you're going to be closer to the forefront of 8th Street, where now you're kind of tucked back?
No, 8th Street is here.
Okay.
And we're going to be behind two buildings.
Okay, so
from
the
8th
building you're building is actually where the open, we see the open storage area now?
Yeah, the yellow marking that I have here is actually denoting the building that we're putting up.
Okay, I see, because on my map that I was looking at, so you're actually the farthest parcel away from 8th Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are approximately, I have a dimension here, 527 feet
Right.
from 8th Street.
Because what I see here is, it looks like now it's open storage, there's a lot of boats and cars. They have an aerial shot is what they have available for us. And so that's going in place of that open air. Okay,
Yes,
I
Councilman.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Sir. I agree that I think it's a low impact kind of a use. We have a lot of traffic concerns on Campbell, and I think this is going to fit in really well to develop a piece of property for you, but also not heavily impact
That's correct.
the traffic flow that's already overwhelming there. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm going to close the public hearing at this time. Any final comments from council? Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Tab 5.
Yes, Mayor. Tab 5 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a request to vacate all of Southwest First Street located between Southwest First Avenue and KROME Avenue, and alleys located between Southwest First Avenue, KROME Avenue, and Railroad Avenue, south of Southwest 320th Street, west of Maui Drive, and north of Southwest 2nd Street, reserving to the city all necessary public utility easements and providing for an effective date. The city is the applicant on this. This is not a quasi-judicial item, Mayor. It's just a regular legislative matter.
Meaning what?
I mean, you still seek comment, but the quasi-judicial rules don't apply to this matter.
This is obviously the project, it's the road down the middle of our project, and the bowling alley, the movie theater, the parking garage, and it's just simply a vacation of that right-of-way to enjoin those two pieces of property to let us use that one block as a bigger piece.
Correct.
This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak for or against this item? Yes, sir. Name and address, please, sir.
Thank you. My name is Ed Paula. I own the property at 129 Southwest First Avenue. What this doesn't specifically address is the alley that runs parallel to 2nd Street. That adjoins my property. And typically when vacations happen, half of the property goes to the abutting owners. I'm not particularly interested in gaining that land. I am interested in the access to the north side of my property or the building.
Second's not, this doesn't affect the alley adjacent to your property.
It does. You guys have it marked on here?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were.
This alley, that 10-foot alley?
Yeah, okay.
And like, again, it's not a question of the physical land, it's access to the north side of the building that I'd be interested in. You don't have to necessarily address it here. I just wanted to bring up the issue because of the concern.
What was your address again? I'm sorry.
The address is 129 Southwest First Avenue. And I own the 4-bay warehouse that's on the corner of First Avenue and 2nd Street.
What do you want to do, Joe?
Let me consult with the attorneys and figure out exactly what the answer to that question is. We know that the property still has access from both First Avenue and 2nd Street, so you'll still maintain access.
That's correct, but then I wouldn't have any way to deal with maintenance issues on the north side of the property if the city were to take the physical land, that whole 10-foot. And again, I'm not looking to, again, usually it's split between the abutting owners. I'm not necessarily interested in the 5 feet. What I'm interested in is perpetual access so I can paint the building and maintain it.
You want us to, Joe, do you
give
want
us one
want us to defer this for a few minutes and come back to it?
Yeah, I think that would be the good thing.
And then let you get
let's
an answer before
sidebar
we-
here, and then we'll be able to answer. We can come back to this after our last item, then we'll be prepared for an educated answer.
We're going to defer this in the middle of the public hearing.
Is that the right way to do it, Matt?
No,
Or
we
just
could
put
just
this on hold? Or,
table it.
Table it for a second?
Table it in the middle of the public hearing, and we'll bring it back up before the meeting's over. Okay?
Thank you.
Is there a motion to table? Move it. Second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to tab 6, legislative matters.
Yes, sir. This is the motion to approve an ordinance on first reading, and this is the reserved parking for active military veterans. So we are recommending approval on first reading of this, and at our March 22nd, 2017 council meeting, Councilman Shelley requested that the city consider potential adoption of regulations and standards related to the reservation of parking spaces for active military and veterans located within the commercial districts and we brought this to discussion on the COW in May. And in response to the city council discussion and direction at the May 9th COW meeting, we've drafted the ordinances herein. These went through further discussion, and so we have in this CAR a voluntary program related to the reservation of those parking spaces. These were discussed again in June, and we were directed to proceed with the ordinance implementing the voluntary program, and so we're recommending approval of that.
Questions from council, Mr. Shelley?
Not a question. I mean, I'll answer any that you guys might have. I think we thoroughly discussed this a couple times. But I did want to say that in the title where it says active military, we'd had the discussion to change that just to military and veteran persons because active would not include the reserve base here and the reserve military.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, so just for the next second reading, just remove active so it says military and veteran persons parking spaces. That's all.
Any other questions from council? This is a public hearing. The main concern, I think, initially was the voluntary aspect of it, and I think it's clearly listed as a voluntary
Yes, yes, sir. We wouldn't be able to enforce it until the county actually wrote an ordinance to enforce it at their level. So we can petition that they create an ordinance in that effect, in which case it would cease to become voluntary and be mandatory.
Okay. Right now, it's voluntary.
Yes, sir.
This is a public hearing. You're welcome to come and speak for or against this particular item. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, can I just read the title into the record real quick? I know, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We keep getting ahead of ourselves. An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the city code by amending Charter 30 zoning, Article 4, Supplemental District Regulations, Division 2, off-street parking to modify and establish voluntary regulations for military and veteran persons parking spaces, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fairclough?
Yes.
Yes. Tab 7.
Mayor, the Federal Emergency Management Administration recommends municipalities establish emergency debris management contracts to be activated in the event of a declared emergency, such as a hurricane. The contract provides for services for the execution of natural disasters-related emergency debris removal from the federal aid highway segment, state and local and private roadways within the Florida Department of Transportation, the City of Homestead, and the Miami-Dade County. Also, it includes but not limited to field operations, debris pickup, debris hauling and removal, debris staging and reduction, temporary debris storage, site management, and debris management. All debris removals and disposal management services shall be in accordance with all applicable federal and state laws and environmental regulations. Staff recommends that Mayor and Council authorize the city manager to award bid number 201702 debris removal services to multiple vendors in accordance with the bid tabulation.
This is required based on some sort of a disaster, wind disaster. We would have 3 potential vendors that could come in and help us remove the debris.
You're correct, Mayor. FEMA, in fact, requires that we go out for solicitation for these services.
And this would only be expended if needed.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Any questions from council? This is a public hearing. You're welcome to speak for or against. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley? Yes. Vice Mayor Fairclough? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 8.
Mayor, the Miami-Dade County Water and Sewer Department valve for the City of Homestead Water Treatment Facility is currently not FDOT rated. With the Southwest 328th Street widening project underway, a new FDOT traffic rated vault top with hatch is required. The existing vault and top will be removed and the vault walls cut down to accommodate new thicker top. The new direct traffic top with direct traffic related double door hatch recesses, locks, and springs will be installed. Staff recommends the Mayor and Council authorize the City Manager to award RFQ XR 127785, furnish and install new traffic-related vault top with hatch to the Redland Company in the amount of $32,990. This project is part of the city's Homestead Capital Improvement Plan, CIP 087.
Any questions from council? I'll open up the public hearing required to make this DOT rated. Close the public hearing. Final comments from council. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Shelley? Yes. Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Roth? Yes. Vice Mayor Fairclough? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Tab 9.
Mayor, the City Historic Preservation Board at its July 19, 2017 meeting approved PH 2017-30, Special Certificate of Appropriateness for demolition of a city-owned structure located at 102 South KROME Avenue with a 3-to-1 vote and 1 abstaining. The city sought the special certificate after multiple alternatives for demolition were considered, including moving and relocating the structure. As noted in greater detail in the attached report to the HPB, a structural elevation determined that due to the building's construction material, structural elements, and dimensions, it cannot be relocated. Pursuant to City Code Section 1425A, the HPB is vested in the power, authority, and jurisdiction to designate, regulate, and administer historical, archaeological, paleontological, and architectural resources in the city. Pursuant to City Code Section 14-5, an appeal of a decision may be made within 20 days of any decision of a board, which would be considered by the City Council within 60 days of the appeal. The deadline to file an appeal on the HPB's decision was August 8, 2017. No appeal was filed. Staff recommends that the mayor and council authorize the city manager to proceed with the demolition of 102 South KROME Avenue.
Questions from council? I know there's been extensive people looking at this building to try to do anything they could to move it. And more than one, I think more than one group has looked at it and said that it can't be moved. That was my understanding, correct?
Yes, we've done everything we could possibly do, and we've met with as many people that had even an inkling of maybe taking the property, so taking the building, but it was, when the engineering report came in, it just, likely the whole thing would crumble.
That's what I'm saying. If any attempt to relocate the building was designated, was just going to fall apart.
Yes.
Any questions from council? This is a public hearing. You're more than welcome to come and speak for or against this item. Close the public hearing. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley? Yes. Vice Mayor Fairclough? Yes. Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 10.
Mayor, during the course of construction of the new police department, staff determined that rather than have the PD construction contractor install the tower lights bidding out, the installation would result in a considerable savings to the city. Construction contractor cost was $239,717. An invitation to bid was advertised and distributed to potential vendors. 2 vendors responded and attended a pre-bid meeting, one of whom was Canseco Electrical Contractors. Submitted a bid in the amount of $158,000, which represents a savings of $81,717. The cost of the installation has no budgetary impact as the lights in the installation are funded as part of the PD project cost. Staff requests the mayor and council approve the award of ITB 201722 lighting package installation at the new police station to Canseco Electrical Contractors in the amount of $158,000 at the new police station.
Questions from council, Mr. Shelley?
Just a quick question. So this is the tower part that right now is lit white?
And also the front of the building as well.
And the front. And so I think the original plan was to do some sort of more artistic color of light versus the white.
Colors, the front will be lit light, but the tower, the actual,
correct,
the ziggurat, the pyramid at the top, that one will have LED color lights, and we can change them according to seasons and events and things like that.
Okay, perfect. Because I know that as part of the arts and entertainment, that was one of the things I wanted to see, was us to start add some light art, so to speak, and that was, so just curious, just wanted to make sure I was clear.
Yes, we expect that the vice mayor will make the first request, and we're ready for it.
Anything else, Mr. Shelley?
No, that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions? I'll open up the public hearing. Is this a public hearing on lighting of the police station? Close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley? Yes. Vice Mayor Fairclough? Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 11, Mr. Manager.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, we have a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing an amendment to the line of credit agreement with Capital Bank pertaining to the financing of the new City Hall, approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of a first amendment to the line of credit agreement with the bank, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Mr. Manager.
Mayor, the city is in the process of finalizing the bond issuance for the Homestead Station project. As part of that process, there is a need to clarify certain provisions of the city's agreement with Capital Bank. On July 10th, 2014, city entered into an agreement for a line of credit with Capital Bank related to the construction of the new city hall. At this time, in order to satisfy requirements for the bond issuance of Homestead Station, the promissory note with Capital Bank will be amended as follows. Quote, for purpose of calculating the maximum annual debt service, the annual debt service requirement for the note shall be calculated assuming a 20-year amortization schedule of substantially level payments of principal and interest. Unquote. This is a necessary housekeeping item needed as part of the issuance of the bonds for the Homestead Station. Staff recommends Mayor and Council adopt the attached resolution authorizing an amendment to the city's agreement with Capital Bank.
Questions from council? This is a public hearing. Housekeeping item, right, Carlos? Making the bond.
Yeah, it's just a bond, it's just a housekeeping item in order to be able to issue the bonds for Homestead Station.
Okay, all right. I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk. Oh, motion? Second? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Shelley? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Faircloth?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
So we're,
Mayor, we have the item and the other one.
yeah, we're going to go back to tab 6. We're in the middle of the public hearing process. I'm assuming we've,
Tab 5, Mayor.
I'm sorry, tab 5. I apologize. So I'm assuming we've come to some sort of a resolution?
Yes, we've spoken to the gentleman whose property is affected, and we're all understanding the proposed vacation is fine.
You just described what that is. So.
Yeah, his concern was that he wouldn't have access to the northern portion of the property. The proposed vacation is for a 10-foot alleyway. When the city vacates that alleyway by operation of law, half of it goes to either side of that vacation. So he would retain 5 feet to be able to provide access, still subject to a utility easement, which is there. So the city will always have its utility easement in place, which is sufficient for him to access the north portion of his property.
Okay. Perfect. This is a public hearing. I'm still in the public hearing process. Close the public hearing on tab 5. Is there a motion on tab 5?
Move it.
Is there a second? Second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Faircloth? Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 12 is the discussion on the master plan. That's Mr. Williams, so we're going to defer that and continue to keep that on the agenda until Mr. Williams is available. The next item is going to be public comments, public comment section. I have Irene Harris. Sears? Dr. Marcia Mallett? Dr. McDonough?
Hello, Mayor, Council. Dr. James here at McDonough. I live at 32320 Southwest 199th Avenue. Due to my perceived level of disrespect from Manager Gretzis at his comments at last month's meeting, I feel I must publicly address them. First, Mr. Gretzis, I brought serious issues to the attention of the city affecting the safety of our children and your employees. You, sir, disarmedly dismissed these concerns as a mere smear. These concerns were brought to my attention due to the untold retaliation occurring in the city under your watch, sir. If I did not possess evidence beyond mere allegations, I would have never been addressed. Sir, it is recommended that you get a bottle of ketchup ready for the day you get to eat your words. I cannot imagine they will be palatable. Second, Mr. Gretzis, sir, you implied because we were not cut off didn't mean we were telling the truth. Most importantly here, it is not me, but the federal and state courts, as well as my recordings, which hold that I speak the truth. Sir, is it the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit or the 11th Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County that you argue against? We are all confused here. Can it be that video evidence contradicting the sworn statements of your employees which you contest? Sir, your slander of our myriad concerns discredits the dignity of this council as well as the good citizens of the city of Homestead. Sir, while out of order, you have repeatedly interrupted citizens as if you preside over these meetings. This is on video, yet you speak with such glowing oratory for public debate. Sir, you lament that your employees are accused of crimes. This council even approved a specific policy because of me, where speakers could be barred for making slanderous comments. Yet no one has been sued or stopped from speaking because of what you allege to be slander. This clearly demonstrates the disingenuousness of your assertions. Sir, with your law degree, you should be aware of the right to petition government for redress of grievances under the First Amendment of the Constitution. However, for some reason, sir, you continue to criticize our petitions, then cover your malfeasance by claiming you cherish freedom of speech. You, sir, are the lowest form of hypocrite and a disgrace to the office of which you hold. I look forward to seeing you in deposition soon. You have a great night.
Mr. Oakey?
Thank you. I'm not quite so confrontational. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I would have said good evening to our representatives up the chain, but they left already. Due to what appears to be the waste of tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money, I must discuss what appears to be as gross malfeasance occurring with public records and requests thereof. The city and WSH have now twice determined by a court of law to have unlawfully withheld public records from Dr. McDonough. And there are many other cases as well. The advice the city is receiving from their attorneys is patently flawed, as shown by 2 losses in open court already. One of these, they brought 3 attorneys to the court and they still lost against a B-rated, lowly, defamed, and unrepresented citizen. WSH has just sued last year for over $7 million for malpractice, particularly for not disclosing a conflict of interest. Yet just yesterday, manager George Gretz signed a waiver of conflict with your law firm, WSH. Does the council know of this? How can WSH give the best possible defense to the city, themselves, and their partners when the best defense for the city is to throw WSH under the bus and claim the violations originated due to bad legal advice given by WSH, the experts on public records? So when the city loses yet again, will you then demand WSH waive their fees, or will you sue them for legal malpractice, thereby saving the citizens, your bosses, because we hired you when we voted for you, thousands of dollars? You realize all the money wasted obstructing Dr. McDonough alone could have purchased body cams and paid for the service for 1 year for our officers. Which brings to mind the fact that I've never been contacted by Councilmember Burgess, who is not here tonight, I'm sorry, for a promised meeting regarding the long-term cost of the body cam issues, but I digress. Why does the city continue to unlawfully obstruct records requests? Why do this after losing and the desired records are already obtained? Why do we continue to waste tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars to litigate a bad case with no damages? What do you have to hide? The absolute lack of transparency begins to explain the opposition to body cameras. We don't even need to again mention the security cameras which the city removed from the very parking lot of this building that showed officers John Monaco and Garland Wright lying on their reports. These officers are not even smart enough to make up the actual elements of a crime, yet you continue to defend them. I have time left. I've never had that happen before. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Noel Brown?
Thank you. I live at 205
Southwest 296th Street. And don't let my affluent neighborhood confuse you, because my community is Northwest Florida City and Southwest Homestead. I live out there, but my community is there, because that's what I care about. Good evening to all of you. I am Noah Brown. I was moved to come and address this council after watching some of the shenanigans at the council meetings on YouTube, seeing how our chief of police has allowed and been a part of intimidating citizens because of their voicing their concerns. I remember Chief when I was in high school, and he was major role then. My first male hero. Listen, I looked up to this guy. A strapped African-American officer looking sharp. Chief, you were bigger than life to a 16-year-old black kid from difficult circumstances. But times are different now. You have led an officer who has killed 2 African-American citizens on your Homestead watch. Stay on the force. I understand that this guy was cleared by FDLE. Hey, that's fine. If he didn't do nothing wrong, right. But I would think for the betterment of your community and relations that you would let this guy be a police officer in this community, because you know what you do? Every time his family sees this, it's like smashing it in his face. I was in charge of a lot of stuff, platoons of men. If one of my soldiers got into something, and I know it was better for the cohesiveness of the unit and relations, I would get rid of that guy. I wouldn't, you know, if the guy didn't do anything illegal, you can't be punished. But for the betterment of our community, where Al grew up at, he let that man come right back there and smash it into those people's family's face. Wrong. I watch your interview where you stumble your words to tell why you backdated some paperwork. You are the chief of police of Homestead. How you didn't ask any questions when you backdated paperwork? I saw your lies and untruths come out of your mouth, and then the arrest of a citizen that had done nothing against the law. And you called the state attorney on a citizen that was acting in the bounds of the law. Chief Rowe, what happened? When did you stop caring about your community that you grew up in? Letting your officers abuse and disrespect law-abiding citizens. If your officers can try and railroad a white man with a doctorate degree, and then when they can, he beat you in litigation, you go after his wife, and none of his officers, and nobody's been held accountable for besmirching this lady. And she done nothing. Nothing. His wife, what can I expect to do if your officers zero on me being a black man? And I know, you know what I know? Most of the officers, I just moved out there in the Redlands. I've been stopped by Homestead 5 times and sat on a curb like I was a boy. I don't deserve that. I spent 23 years in the Army.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Womble?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Mayor, I come before you again with this humble request. I ask that we place on the ballot this coming fall during the upcoming election the item that we've been asking for over 2 years now. The item that I'm referring to is that of body cameras. We've been told that body cameras cost too much. However, at the same time, we've been told that the company that produces the product is willing to give those cameras to us free of charge. They were willing to train our officers for using them, and they were willing to pay for the storage of the data for up to 1 year. With that, Mr. Mayor, gives us a total cost of zero as it relates to the cost for body cameras. A good trial period would be that of 1 year. We would be able to make an analysis on our own, whether or not they are beneficial to the citizens of Homestead. But to merely ignore the probable use of body cameras and the cost associated, well, with the savings associated that have been reported is sort of ignoring the fact that this is of benefit to the citizens of Homestead, and it has been of benefit to the citizens of other municipalities. We can't create our own conclusions without some type of analysis. This has already been analyzed by many municipalities who utilize body cameras. So I'm only asking that if you're not willing to vote for it, then let the citizens of the city of Homestead vote whether or not they think that it is something that is applicable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hill?
Kim Hill, City of Homestead. First and foremost, I would like to thank Ms. Fairclough for asking relevant, poignant questions pertaining to the education on the southwest side to that legislative body there. Now, Carter G. Woodson once said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you don't have to take him to the back door. He'll go to the back door. And if there is no back door, he will create one. That's the answer to Mr. Brown's question to Officer Rowe. That's the answer to the question to Jimmy Williams living on the southwest side and a whole host of you other people up here. If you feel inferior, you're going to do inferior things and you're going to not make the demands. We've been here for eternity demanding the use of body cameras, demanding the debate on body cameras, yet you all turn a blind eye. You do it at the helm of our mayor, Mr. Jeff Porter. I call him Mississippi Jeff. Mississippi Jeff. Same as Charlottesville. You see, this is a racist act. I'm not going to tiptoe through the roses. I'm not going to pussyfoot around this issue. This is did at the helm of this guy who's sitting up here. We've discussed 1,000 things, yet he turns a blind eye and he disrespects the African-American community. He disrespects the Hispanic community by not allowing this to come on the agenda. And this is racist. It is flat out racist, and no one wants to say it. And everyone's looking around. This is the elephant in the room. But the truth of the matter is this is racist. And this is Mr. Porter's way of dealing with the African-American community. There's an effective way of dealing with us. You take a black face and put it in the proper place and endorse the policies behind your racist nature. This is what you do with Mr. Rowe. You march him out during these particular incidents or whatever, whenever it's favorable for you. And it's kind of like the organ grinder with the monkey. You roll him out, and then he gets his reward and put it right back in your pocket. This is game. This is political game, and we want respect on the southwest side. There's no reason. You want this to be another Charlottesville? Yes, you can look all dismayed, you can look all crazy at me, but you choose not to put the issue on the forefront for the public to debate it. That's disrespectful, and you know it. And I have no problem calling you who you are and what you are. In my eyes, you are a racist. And anyone else who steps behind you in support, you're ignoring this relevant, pertinent policy towards African Americans is a racist and in support of racism. So,
thank you. Thank you.
You ain't welcome.
Mr. Diego? I think he was here for the land use issue, I believe. Natalie, I can't read the last name. Pineda? Natalia?
No, Prieto, she's not.
Prieto? Okay. Natalie Prieto, so. Michael Stubbs? Is it Stubbs? Stiles? Oh, Mr. Stiles, I'm sorry, I can't read it here.
Oh, yeah, the handwriting.
Yeah.
It's hard to come out behind so much negativity that our city has shown so much love to our youth. And I'm here on the behalf of South Dade Minister Alliance. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of our councilmen, to our great city, for the support that they have shown throughout 16 years of Hallelujah Night in the Southwest District. Because of you guys, we are able to reach out to over 1,000 youth at the worst time in crime in the month of October, which is October 31st. And on this month, this year, we're planning on coming to Homestead, the Southwest District, where our youth could be able to have an activity far as to be entertained on this night. This has been a tool to be able to slow down the crime rate in between Homestead and Florida City. This is known as one of the highest crime nights on record before this event. It's been 16 years that the Southwest District, that the segment has been doing this program, and it's been a great program. I want to thank you all for last year for your contributions that you made for us to be able to have the program or the event over in Florida City. This year, it's coming to my city, and I said my city. I'm looking forward to being able to collaborate with the city of Homestead to have a great event this year. This year, we're looking forward for other folks to come and be involved as far as the Big Red Bus to take blood. All of our car dealerships are coming out to be able to be a part of the community. And we, of course, always ask, as you always do with the city of Homestead, to open up the doors and allow us to use the facilities on the southwest side. Not only that, we always know that you all will support us financially. This year is something a little different. We're going in it big style. Since the city of Homestead has been so blessed, we feel like we should be a blessing to our students. We're looking for a carnival style type event, festivities as far as carnival rides, as far as healthcare coming in, doing pre-screenings, and just having a great time. The budget this year has rose from a mere $8,000 to $10,000, which means we need a little more help. And I'm looking forward for you all to support us in this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norman Hodge?
Norman Hodge, 205 Southeast 7th Road, Homestead, Florida 33030. Thank you, Mayor, Council, for this time. I want to take this opportunity to announce my candidacy for City Council Seat 4. In my opportunity to serve again, I will support our public safety. I will support local economy as well as support our I always get nervous when I speak, unless I'm in a pulpit. I need to be in a pulpit, and I go with it. But I also will, I plan on supporting education as well. Also supporting our transportation and just quality of life of our community. That's what I hope to support. Like to be happy to work with you guys again. City manager, council, my future council members. I look forward to working with you. I'm glad you guys brought up the discussion of the Southwest Master Plan, getting ready for my leadership. If you want further information, see my website is electnormanhodge.com. Also on Facebook, I'm available for, contact me at any time for questioning, speaking with me. And again, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have no more cards for public hearing, so I'm gonna, I don't have a card. Did you get here late?
So we were here. David McGee,
Before I got here. Yeah, come forward. Come forward. One of you, just one of you, please. Only one. Only one. Only one, please.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. My name is Malidia Sed. I'm the Center Director of the Homestead Center here in Homestead. So we wanted to be more of us in here. I mean, we're representing the center, and we want to thank you for your support to the youth program that we had this year with the City of Homestead. I mean, I'm representing Maria Rodriguez. She's the Director of Youth Co-op, and Youth Co-op, we've been serving this community since 1993 through several programs. The youth program, since 2008, we have the adult program there at the center. And the main reason, I mean, our main mission is just to make sure that our community, the youth, the job seekers, the employers, that we get to educate them on job opportunities. We empower the youth. We had even two of these participants here that we wanted to show whatever they learned through this program. So I don't know if we have time to have them come in. They've been waiting the whole.
I'm sorry. We have a process. You fill out a paperwork, and we just, I thought it was going to be something very quick, so we don't really have time. But I would encourage you to come back, please.
We will, but we wanted just to take this opportunity to thank you for your support, and we look forward to work with you in the future for the Summer Youth Program and any other opportunities that can come around with Youth Co-op.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Maldonado?
If would encourage them just to, ma'am,
yes.
In regards to the presentation, if you could reach out to us, maybe individually, if you couldn't reach out today, we'd be more than happy to help you. We're just happy to hear that some of the works that we've been doing have a positive effect on the community. So we thank you for sitting here and partaking in our meeting tonight. I know you've been here a long time and had an opportunity. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but we want to let you know that you can feel free to reach out to us, and hopefully we'll have some time to sit down and hear you and help you out. Okay, thank you. We could, Mayor,
Go ahead.
and I would just ask if anything, if we could help them to maybe for the next council meeting, because I'd really like to hear the testimonials that are coming out from these organizations. I think it's important. And so
Before you leave tonight, would you speak to the clerk and let her explain to you the process to get you on the next agenda? And that way it'll be done, okay? Okay, thank you. Any business from the city manager?
I think I just want to reiterate my comments from last month, because I think it's important for the staff that when somebody comes up and smears them and they don't get interrupted for 3 minutes, it's because the 3 minutes has been allotted for the person to make those comments. So I don't want anybody to think because there's no interruption that is agreement, or that whatever comes out of the person's mouth is fact. In fact, what's happening on a regular basis is people get up to there, and it's only one or two, but they get up onto that microphone and they smear people, whether it's city staff, whether it's elected officials, whether it's whoever it is. And I'm responsible for the staff, so I would just say, don't take it personally. In fact, cherish the fact that we have a form of government where people can say something that we don't necessarily have to agree with. And when it's factually inaccurate, that's a different issue. We can address it or we can choose not to. But in terms of their 3 minutes, that's the reason why they're not being interrupted. We'll see the creative editing later, and so, the creative editing and the splicing and the graphics and all that. But the point is, that's what these chambers are for, is people to have their say, and try not to be offended as best as you can.
Thank you, sir. Anything from the attorney? Nothing? Reports from Mayor and Council. Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Mayor. Just, I have two things. The first thing is city business, and someone approached me about solid waste pickup, and I don't know who to direct this to, Mayor, but it's kind of the scheduling of it. Normally, in my neighborhood, I can only speak for my neighborhood because I don't have the schedule in front of me, we get picked up on a Friday, and most people do their work on a Saturday and a Sunday, and they put the trash out on that weekend, and then we may get picked up on the following Tuesday, or we may not get picked up until the following Friday. And I was just wondering, is there a reason or a scheduling thing that we can't have solid waste picked up on a Monday after people put all their waste onto the street, so that it's not sitting there till Tuesday or to a following Friday? I'm not sure how that scheduling works, because when they are picking up on Friday, they're actually picking up our trash on Friday as well. So I don't know how the scheduling works for that. I'm not asking for more pickups or more times, just a more practical pickup time or schedule, so that the trash is not sitting out there all week long until till Friday. Because if code enforcement comes along, they'll cite you, but by the time the citation warning days goes by, solid waste has picked up the trash already. So I'm just not sure I understand what the scheduling process is on solid waste.
Eric can address that. We can have the Director of Public Works send out a memo with how the rotation is done, but the simplest explanation is that there's 5 days a week, and if everybody got picked up on the same day, there's just not enough resources for that. So when you cover the whole city, you've got to spread it out over a 5-day schedule. And so I think that's the dilemma, is everybody wants that same day. And so
Well, it's not even a consistent schedule, because you'll pick up on a Tuesday, and then you might even pick up on that Friday, and then you won't pick up for 10 days a following Tuesday. So there's no consistency. Although it's on a schedule, it doesn't mean that if I do yard work in my house on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I put the stuff out there for them to pick up, should I not do it until it's convenient for them to come by and pick up my trash? Or should I do it when it's convenient for me to do it, knowing that they're going to come on Monday and pick up the trash? I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at, because people put out trash almost every single day in this city. So if we had a more routine schedule, maybe we could get code enforcement to enforce these rules better, so that I don't drive through my neighborhood or the northwest section or the southwest section and see piles of trash out there on a regular basis. That's what I'm saying. If we make it convenient, I think people would adhere to the schedule. But to repeat myself, if I do yard work on a Saturday or a Sunday, and they pick up the trash they picked up trash the previous Friday, what good does that do me? And do I have to wait for the city in order for me to do my yard work to pick up trash? I'll wait for the explanation to come from Public Works.
I think that would be the issue, though, is if all 70,000 people had that same thing, everybody would have to get picked up on the same day.
But we're not talking about 70,000 people. We're talking about 20,000 residences.
You have to create a schedule in order to cover the whole city.
No, I understand that. I understand that. It's not consistent. So, but anyways, my second thing is just an announcement. The Homestead Rock and Rib Fest is coming up October the 7th, Harris Field. We have our 4 charities we're working hard for: Patches PPEC, the Mexican American Council. We have Extreme Cheer, and there's one other, and I blanked out on that one. SOS is actually participating in it this year, and it's actually Gladiator Wrestling, who's the 4th one that Coach Duck over there at Gladiator Racing. What a great job he does. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shelley, I know you got the mic on, but your time too. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted
Hold on a second. Let me get this. Go ahead.
I just wanted to participate in the discussion that Councilman Roth had raised, and that was, a few years back, when we went back to every week bulk trash pickup, that was one of the things that we had the concern in the Northwest and also the Southwest was getting multiple bulk trashes, but then the other problem was just what you stated, and that was how do we address the issue where we do our yard work, especially in the Northwest and Southwest where we have large yards, we have a lot of trees, we generate a lot of bulk waste. How do we generate that so that we can allow it to be picked up, but also then allow code to do their job? Because back then what it was is this Northwest was actually being picked up every Thursday or something it was. We didn't ever have early. It was always Thursday or Friday, depending on where you were in the Northwest. So what that meant was that every weekend that we did work, we had the exact problem. That was we'd always be picked up late. So we worked on it to see how could we find out where we got one early and one late. And that's where the current schedule came from, was to make sure that the Northwest always got at least one Monday or Tuesday pickup day. And then so did the other parts of the town, Southwest and East, and everybody else also got an early pickup and then also a late pickup. So every day of the week, they're either early or they're late, and that's how the schedule got worked out. So if you planned your work right, then you would pick the weekend you're going to do your biggest yard work, and that way the trash would show, or the bulk waste would pick up either that Monday or Tuesday, depending on where you were within the Northwest or Southwest. And then if you had light work, you would maybe do it for the following Friday. And that's how the schedule came about. And what that also allowed is, like you said, there was a big concern, and still is a problem, where you have people just putting bulk waste out all the time, and then it looks bad. And so now it allowed us to effectively use code enforcement, and hopefully we can go back to doing that, where we effectively use code enforcement to clean up the neighborhood, and no one has that argument that says, well, I have to then hide my yard work behind my house until Friday or Thursday, and then I got to drag it out, which nobody has time to do because they all work. So that was kind of the history of how it came about. There was an analysis, and that was how that schedule had came out, and that was where just so the history of it. And then Julio can definitely get you up to speed on the more of the details when he's here next time. So, thank you.
Any business? Is it your?
Oh, am I up now? Yeah, Councilman Burgess. So the other issue, we'll stick with the bulk waste theme then, and that is, I also met with a resident who had some concerns about the big holes that we have for bulk waste in the northwest as well in the southwest. We need to get staff back out there with our dirt and fill in the craters that get created when they come through and pull that bulk waste away. And so those craters are showing up again, and we need to try to fill them in as best we can in those particular neighborhoods. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Maldonado.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I want to take a moment to congratulate my colleague. I'm very excited for her. She is a principal now at a great school up in Coral Gables, so congratulations to you on that. I know you've been working hard on that, so congrats. So I don't see Julio here at the moment.
Vacation.
Oh, lucky guy. So who do I direct these questions to?
Oh, you could give him a break and wait till next month.
No. Okay, so I'll pass that one. I'll wait for the next one on that one. So I had a request from a few residents in regards to KROME Avenue and 15th Street on making a left-hand turn where the traffic has been increased, and I see all you guys nodding your head. We all go down KROME Avenue. We all deal with that. I know this is a question for Julio as well. So I kind of I wanted to put out there for the record, at least so that we could get some follow-up with that. And I wanted to make sure that I followed up with the resident. I said I would put it out there, so I had to bring that forward. So having said that, Julio's not here. I'm going to have to bypass a bunch of questions. I will just share that this Friday we will be having the farm share this Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a first come, first serve, and it's going to be at Harris Field. So we want to encourage the community, if you know any friends or family members or any family that's in need and that would be able to take advantage of our, the farm share distribution, we would encourage them to be there this Friday at Harris Field from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And other than that, that's it. Good job, guys.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start off by acknowledging the efforts of SOS, the Youth Council, Southwest Advisory Committee, and a host of organizations who work collaboratively to pull off the Back to School Bonanza, which was an event not just to distribute backpacks, and we did about 2,000 of those, but to engage your families and children in preparation for back to school. They were participating in STEM activities, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, a host of other educational experiences to get them excited for back to school. It was a well-attended event, and we could not have done that without the hard work of the SOS team. Captain Washington, please relay my sentiments to SOS for the hard work that they put into that, as well as the Southwest Advisory Committee. I also would like to acknowledge several schools in our community that really continues to move the needle as it relates to student achievement. We have several A schools in Homestead. Redondo Elementary moved to an A. Mass at Homestead maintained their A. Center for International Education maintained their A. School for Advanced Studies maintained their A. Comeback Kid of the Year, Laura C. Saunders, over the past 3 years, they moved from an F to a B, which is very impressive. Campbell Drive K-8 Center is now a B school. On the charter school in Somerset Academy, they really brought it home this year. Somerset Oaks, Somerset Soho, and Somerset Middle High are all B schools. There are some schools that maintain their grade. However, they continue to move in the right direction with the support, the continued support of this community, as well as the Education Committee, who put in very strategic resources to support these schools. I am sure that we will continue to increase in the amount of A schools that we have. And finally, I'd just like to welcome all of our children back to school on August 21st. Over 1,000 school buses will be on the road transporting about 50,000 kids throughout this district. So pack some patience on August 21st, and welcome back to the 2017-2018 school year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to congratulate you on your being principal. I know that's been a desire of yours. And what school are you going to?
A very historic school, George Washington Carver Elementary in Coconut Grove. It's an international studies magnet school. It was very competitive to get appointed to that school, and I'm just grateful for the work of, with the support of so many to help me land that amazing opportunity.
Well, I think the school's lucky. I think the school's lucky. I just wanted to say, I got a couple of letters I wanted to say, Dennis, and you can, a lot of people like to complain about city staff, and I got a letter from Mr. Haspel in the Villages, and he was very complimentary of Tracy Moore and the timely response that diagnosed the water problem, diagnosed it, sent the crews out there, and somebody goes to the trouble to write a letter, and I think the manager got one, but I want to please tell Tracy, thanks for representing us so well. And also got another letter from Jake Jacobson, who's in Northgate. Same thing for Gary Schaefer, Felix, Jose Fernandez, and Antonio Knight. He wrote a letter, said that they came in and did an awesome job of flooding problem that was going on. So please pass on to them our appreciation for representing this community so well in the public. So I thank you very much. Also, I wanted to announce I have 3 vacancies on the Historic Preservation Board. Anyone like to apply, please talk to the city clerk. We could use some help there. We also have 1 vacancy on the Southwest Advisory Committee. Again, speak to the clerk, or you can send it to the mayor's office or any of our offices, basically, and then we'll get it to the clerk so we can discuss filling those appointments. I really don't have anything else. I want to thank everybody for being here. I know it's a tough time of the year for getting ready for school. And the staff, you can tell it's tough because there's half of them aren't here. So, but is there a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you.